Watch it live and fall asleep. Let it be just a dream. In the morning you'll be gone. Only remain the memories. We are meant to be nothing but a dream. Nothing but a dream. We are meant to be nothing but a dream. Nothing but a dream. Nothing but a dream. Tell me what you want me to say. You can go crazy, go wild. I can shout it out loud or say it low, low, low. Watch it live and fall asleep. Let it be just a dream. Watch it live and fall asleep. Let it be just a dream. Watch it live and fall asleep. Let it be just a dream. In the morning you'll be gone. Only remain the memories. We are meant to be nothing but a dream. Nothing but a dream. We are meant to be nothing but a dream. Nothing but a dream. Nothing but a dream.
And we are live. Welcome, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for another Friday Night Magic at the Sanctuary. Today, I'm bfine, Bobby, and I'm joined with recurring guest, David, aka Ankylosaur,
Hello.
and everyone's favorite Reddit, I don't even know, master of Reddit, coordinator of all things PDH on Reddit, and RC member, Paul, aka Scarecrow1779. So thanks for joining, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Oh, Mizu. Oh my god. Yes. But yeah, so I know today we were kind of talking about we're planning to talk about some Markov Manor spoilers now that everything got fully spoiled as of sometime yesterday or today, depending on which parts of the set you're talking about. And then maybe also a look at some of the lists we're working on that are maybe not quite there or in progress. Whether they're half baked or close, or maybe not so even close to half baked. I don't know. I have some in all of those buckets myself. So,
Me too.
but yeah, I guess we can real quick just do some fun, quick announcement stuff like I've been doing every time. Because we have a bunch of fun tournaments coming up, I know, and plenty more, it sounds like, queued up for the rest of the year. I don't know who else plan on playing what, but first we have OMG Chris is hosting the Common Cause 2 on February 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It's $200 to first place. Proceeds are going to Project Hope, I believe. So helping people while also getting to play PDH. Awesome thing. To sign up, just go to omgnpg.com. Links are all there. Then in March, we have the next Sanctuary Open tournament on March 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern. $16 entry. Same thing, all online. Virtual platforms are allowed, just like Common Cause. And cash prizes, I have that laid out in the topdeck.gg link, kind of the breakdown. And the winner gets to work with me to make their own custom token, like the ones right here. So, Gator and Caitlin, last year I talked to them, helped make these tokens kind of after the fact. But moving forward, each champion's going to get to work with me to make a token. We'll give them out, at FNM like we're doing tonight. Patreon subscribers, doing, placing well in tournaments and leagues and stuff. So a bunch of different ways to get your hands on them. I think Paul has some or got his in the last few days. And then David doesn't have them yet, but he's going to when Chicago rolls around. So,
yeah.
So that'll be fun. And then the last, at least officially queued up tournament to go over is the Riches to Rags part 4, I think, in the Philadelphia area. So that's going to happen on April 7th. It's really awesome. This time it's going to be hosted alongside Eminence Events CDH tournament Punt City 3. So there'll be a lot of CDH happening, a lot of just magic happening in general. Entry's $30. It's a good time. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in the Common Cause. I'll obviously be around the Sanctuary. I know everyone's going to, the Philly one is awesome just because I love playing in paper. I don't get enough of that experience, and that's also something we'll talk about here in a little bit too. Maybe kind of transition there, but playing in paper is just awesome. And so getting the chance to do it for prizes. I know we all went to RIW last year, and that was a blast. Yeah, I mean, Paul, I guess we'll talk about it while we're here, and it came up. You've been having it sounds like a blossoming paper kind of metagamer scene. What's
I mean, not really blossoming yet, but slowly making progress. Like, there's so many people that want to play in paper and can't find people to play with, and me and a few of the other people in this area have slowly just been working on just developing interest. Like, two of the guys that I play with, if you know Caden or North Dakota from Discord, both of them are regulars at two of the LGSs in the area, have been in this area for years, whereas I just showed up a year and a half ago. So they kind of know some people around and have slowly been convincing people to try out their LGSs. And sometimes I show up and, have like the business cards we made for Vegas and stuff like that to help hand out and build interest. But I've just been scouring like all the Facebook pages and Discords of local LGSs, trying to like just put out feelers, like see if anyone's interested, see if I can catch someone's eye that'll come join us. And like this past weekend, we finally got 2 new people to join us, and I gave away 3 new decks so they could get their friends into it. And I know there's like 3 other people that have built decks at one of the LGSs nearby also. So kind of decentralized right now, but slowly it's working, and that it's a good feeling, considering just for the longest time, like during COVID, for example, that was just something that was completely off the table for a lot of us.
Yeah. I mean, I think aside from RIW and Philly, like I've never played PDH in person outside of those like 2 instances, and that's, a heck of a drive for either of those. So it's not something I can do like regularly. I mean, having like the ability to play with people at like an FNM setting, or just like regularly, it would be awesome. I mean, I feel that way about 60 card popper too. And I know David has some people he plays 60 card popper with kind of regularly, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I think being able to like get more eyes on the format helps. The EDH nights seem to be like the best night to try to get that going. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we've had mixed success. Like, we've had a few people wander over and be just a random fourth and borrow a deck. I think for casual EDH night works, we've had some mixed results on the competitive end. Caden's been really enjoying just like being taking like a Gretchen combo list into unsuspecting or unwary EDH pods. and just murdering them unrelentingly.
Perfect. I mean, and there's a good chunk of CPDH decks that are both helmed by legendary commanders and like strong enough to hold their own in those pods. I mean, maybe not like a CEDH pod where you got crazy degenerate stuff happening, but
Like at Vegas, Ryan Papa Popper was doing a lot of that, playing PDH decks in CEDH pods and mostly losing, but being far more impactful than anyone that hasn't played PDH thought he would.
yeah, like I mean, even you don't even have to necessarily combo to have a chance at those. Obviously, that is going to help. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the cool part. And if you get people to even let you bring like a TPI or
And I think that's what Ryan was playing a lot at Vegas was TPI, and the comments he was getting was like, "Holy cow! You're not even comboing, but you're just presenting so much interaction that's keeping the rest of the table in check."
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I've played Gretchen. I've played Abdel Blue, and I think I've even played Gut Leader in like actual like full power EDH pods. And Gut Leader gets a lot worse when like you've got 40 life. I think I died to a Cauldron Complete the last time I played it, which is not something you have to worry about in CPDH.
yeah.
But yeah, like they definitely strong decks that can hold their own. And it's a cool way to like introduce people to some of the stuff that Pauper is has available to it.
Yeah,
So.
and that's one of the main things I'm looking forward to about. And I know Dallas Walker was like, that's part of why they were working on getting this, location and like kind of pairing with the Eminence events, CEDH events, getting at least on like the competitive side, CEDH players I think will like see, oh, you can still do powerful and crazy and degenerate things in CPDH land. You can do the Voltronic stuff, you can do the combo stuff, you can do control stuff, you can do anything, everything in between, and you get to play some of the most powerful cards that you're already playing in your CEDH lists. So I think that'll be a good just like moment of exposure that hopefully like lets it maybe take off a little bit, or repeated exposure will help it take off a little bit. But yeah,
Just in general over the last, I guess, like 4 years, to me it's interesting. I've seen a trend where the idea of commons equals slow and boring has slowly decreased. Like it's still there, it's still like a misconception to fight through, but I've noticed that argument popping up less and less over the last few years when I try to introduce people to the format. And I'm not sure if it's just because we're getting, as a format, are getting better known, or if it's more so tied to just better awareness of Pauper since it became an official format. But it's very much working in our favor as we try to spread the good word.
Yeah, I think it's some of that. I think part of it's the high, like cards are just more powerful at lower rarities. Fire design, all that fun stuff. We're just getting more and more powerful cards, and there's still the old cards that are plenty powerful too, that are banned in however many formats. When you look at some of the ban lists out there, and you see what isn't banned in our format. Yeah, and just like decks are being tuned and tweaked over time, and they're just getting faster and faster too. It's like some combination of all of those probably leads to that, and
was really enjoyable hearing you and Alk talk about like looking back at Gators turn 3 win and just having in hindsight a discussion of that. I really enjoyed that FNM.
Yeah, I think was it me, Alk, and David? You were there too, right?
Yeah,
okay,
I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good time. I mean, I'm really curious to see how it keeps changing over time. It's the one thing about our format is it's small still. I mean, on the smaller side when you look at other formats, so we only have so much to look at, so much to compare to. But yeah, I'm curious to see how things continue to change over time, especially as it grows. More people take on more archetypes. We're going to talk about all our decks we have queued up. There's a reason why they're queued up. I only have so much time. And there's everyone has all their ideas they want to test, and only so much time to play them all. So I think that over time will help too. Just more people playing more decks, and whether we see the format slow down, speed up even more, just change, like who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for it, and I have high hopes for it. You know, based on the trajectory everything seems to be going in. So, but yeah. So I guess real quick, I don't know if I know we're just talking about decks, but I guess let's real quick talk about Markov Manor. Full spoilers are out for all the commander decks, the clue decks, the set, everything in between. There's like 4 different products, it seems like, every set now, and I lose track of them. I guess on the competitive side, we'll do like a quick set review. I know everyone's putting out set reviews, so we don't need to like belabor it, but I think it's important to talk about some of the cards. Let's start with commanders, I guess. Do either of you have any specific commanders you want to touch on that you think will be particularly interesting or maybe show up in the competitive setting?
I don't think any of them are going to be standouts. The vampire, Wisp Drinker vampire, that's pretty similar to what is it, Corpse Knight and Ellis Ilcor. Like, yeah. I think we might see it around some as people try it out in that same traditional like aristocrat style, like grindy aristocrat style. But do I expect it to vary in performance drastically from Ellis? Not really.
Yeah, we were talking about briefly before. I like this card. I think it has a better home in, like, you know, the casual high power, whatever you want to call it, tables. I mean, I love anything where I can just like cast White Mane Lion over and over again. So like this deck would love to just keep recasting White Mane Lion over and over again, and company, Core Skyfisher, all those guys.
Have you ever played Aethersworn Sphinx? Because
I have not, but I've been doing similar things with Emoti lately. So
yeah, I've been on a tear in mid power with Aethersworn Sphinx. I think I've won like the last 4 games I've played with it.
Yeah. So nice. I love those things, but yeah, like you said, I don't think it offers anything necessarily new that we don't already have in the form of, you know, whether it's Elissa Core, like White Black Abdel, like these kind of like slow drain aristocratic style decks.
Indulging Patrician.
Yeah, Indulging Patrician's another good one.
Feels somewhat similar.
Yeah. It is really good at blocking. It's really good at dissuading attacks. But yeah, I mean, maybe someone will do something with it, and I would be excited to see it. But yeah, just kind of on like the slower side. But hey, that could all just depend on what metagame is out there too. So,
true. Yeah.
Anyone else have any going through the commanders? I don't see any that really stuck out to me competitive wise. Yeah. I'm just like double checking.
Sumala Rumblers is super amusing to me, and I don't know, maybe it could be present a threat to the table fast enough, a la Dargo, where it's dealing damage to everyone at once. But I think that's one that's going to have to go through a lot of tweaking before it gets really to where it can keep up. Like, I don't think it's something that's going to be there in the next 6 months.
Oh, and this one's the one from the Clue.
Yeah, the Myriad one. Myriad, Celestia.
Oh, yeah, the Myriad one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that one gets... I mean, it doesn't take a lot for it to get big. You have to do a lot to protect it, I guess, is like the trick there. And it doesn't have like evasion. And
it's going to have a hard time both protecting and having removal, just because green creature removal tends to get countered by your opponent's removal, and then white removal for creatures is expensive. So
yeah, and
it has a hard.
And no built-in evasion is going to do a number against it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you've got trample. Like,
yeah, you can give it trample pretty easily. Yeah.
Or like I saw someone talking about giving it Shield of the Oversoul, the white-green aura that gives flying and indestructible. And then like I was talking about putting Volpkeet on it to where the main body and all the Myriad tokens have flying.
Okay, yeah, I mean that'd be. I mean
Yeah.
that the fact
But
that you can stack those kind of things on it are really cool.
yeah, that's why I'm so excited about it, is because having access to two color with Myriad gives us a lot more density of interesting tricks to play that they were present for the monocolor decks, but none of the monocolor Myriad commanders were strong enough to really like make those tricks shine.
And you
And
get all of the populate cards, right? I think they're all in
yeah,
Selesnya.
Yep.
five
So,
instants that can all basically just give you a second copy of your commander.
yeah.
Yeah.
With those cool like added abilities too, which are kind
Yeah,
of
like if you already have Volpkeet, then I'm pretty sure Populate makes a copy of that also. So you would end up with 6 flying.
Ugh. Yeah. I mean that'd be cool. Like you said, it'll have some weaknesses, but I like, was it Dalek Squadron and the white one I'm
It's
blanking
very
on.
much it's snowball decks, kind of like Kadira, where it depends on just flying under the radar, as the combo decks are the threats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I like it. I don't know how how it'll show up, but I know there's like Ravamati has been playing Kadira and Kutzel. So there are some people who are like big Selesnya fans, and I'm sure they'll put it together. What's the white myriad creature that I'm blanking on right now too? Hammers of Moradin? Is that
Oh
the
yeah,
one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Brownie has a list.
Yeah.
I have a list too. I was trying to play mine more aggressively, and it was making me kind of like a table enemy, and then I would just get like shoved into the dirt, and
Yeah.
white doesn't have the card advantage to recover from that. And
Yeah.
Brownie's list being more mid-range and a little slower to get started lets other people be a threat too, and then it gives you room to just continue doling out damage and whittle the table down, and then you finish people off. So yeah, his approach was definitely a little better than mine, even though our lists weren't that different. It was just like a slightly different mindset when you sit down to play it.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that is like a big part of every deck list. I know I've talked about that plenty before in the context of Malcolm decks, but I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Somali could be interesting. David, did you have any other commanders that you thought were particularly interesting? I had 3 that were like probably not competitive, but I'm excited to tinker around within like casual and high power land. But
Yeah. I think Crime Novelist is cool.
oh yeah, this was
the 3-mana 1/3 that whenever you sacrifice an artifact, it gets a 1/1 counter and you make a red mana.
yeah.
I don't know that there's anything that you can really do that's super busted with it in the format, but I do love sacrificing stuff.
It's all trying
And-
to kill one player at once was my
Yeah.
impression of it. Like you sack all the treasures to fireball someone's face, and then you save just enough to Timber Battle Rage your now giant
Yeah.
novelist.
Yeah.
And kill
Yeah.
someone with commander.
It feels like an ATOG deck kind of, where like
Yeah. Very
you know.
all in.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but I like Voltron and I like sacrificing stuff, and this guy does them both. So
There you go. Yeah.
kind of fun.
Yeah. I think its problem is just like the needing the repeatable artifact engines. Like there's a handful of them, but you're in mono red. But
Mono Red has a lot of them. So there's the Tavern Scoundrel, I think, is an older card that might be really interesting with
the
that
flip a
deck.
coin, make a treasure guy.
Yeah, because all you care about is that they're getting sacrificed. And Tavern Scoundrel, even though it's not netting you treasure, it's still giving you consistent sacrifices. Yeah. 2 mana, 1/3. Whenever you win a coin flip, create 2 treasures, and then you can pay 1, tap it, sacrifice another permanent, flip a coin.
Yeah.
So
There's a hoarding ogre. When it attacks, you make some treasures. There's a handful for sure.
and things like Ceremonial Blade.
Yeah,
Kind of like
all the
how we saw-
equipment.
like how we saw Loyal Apprentice in Common Cause 1, where he was just going ham with all the treasure making equipment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I think this could be interesting. I know a lot of people were excited about it when it got spoiled, so I'm sure there will be no shortage of lists that pop up and see play.
When I first saw it, it was like text only on the EDH subreddit, and I was just like, "This is gonna be a rare."
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, when it's just the text now, you can never even tell what's
Yep.
or it's you can tell when it's like a mythic when it just has too many lines of text. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're just like adding abilities and text to everything now. So, yeah, I mean, other one, I'm just gonna say I'm excited about Aftermath Analyst. I don't think it's gonna do
Oh
anything
yeah,
competitive, but I love
I
self mill. So
that is a
Yeah.
casual commander that I'm really interested in. I love big mana
yeah,
concepts, and I just want to have every Ewild's panorama and cycling land I can in that deck, and just get them back a bunch,
yeah,
and then use that to fuel massive green shenanigans.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Corkin was working on a list and we were messaging about it earlier. I am very excited about this silly like it's the hard thing in green is sacking lands to try to do like board white like get rid of all your lands, bring them all back. But there are a handful of ways that you can sack a bunch of forests,
Mhm.
including like
Yeah.
whiteout,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and fortitude were like the two that immediately
Yeah.
jumped out. So
I have a bunch of copies of Whiteout from like
Tireless
Pauper.
Tribe, yeah,
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 for when
Yeah.
trying to find replacements for its card draw.
yeah. I know Dave and I were just talking about Tireless Tribe earlier this week. So
Yeah.
um,
I was really intrigued by the version that was using Tethmos High Priest to get back a killed tribe.
Oh, sure.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I never could pilot it to save my life though.
Tethnos
It's
High Priest.
that is a complicated version of it for sure.
Yeah,
I have definitely played with that too.
yeah. I like the High Priest combo stuff that was going on for a little bit was all super funky, but I love it. So, other two ones I think will stand like see some play. We don't have to touch too much on them. Gleaming Gear Drake. I think Paul, you mentioned this one before we started talking. Just a
Yeah,
blue red artifact commander gets
it
big.
reminds me of Sprite Dragon a lot.
Yeah,
And Sprite Dragon we've seen do pretty well in some tournaments. So
yeah. I mean this does really well with the artifact making the treasure making equipment too, right? Like you,
Yeah, for sure.
it's an evasive, cheap guy you can equip him to, and it makes treasures. It grows when you sack those treasures, which you are probably using just to protect the Gleaming Gear Drake. So
or like spell bombs and boulders and
yeah,
stuff like that we get, the more capable it'll be.
yeah. Yeah, I think this could be neat. I know we have some like you said, Spray Dragon similar. There's a few other like similar-ish kind of creatures. But
And that's what I say the spell bomb thing is, because like Sprite Dragon's strength is that it turns, all your removal spells into an offensive buff, and that's exactly what spell bombs can do for the Gear Drake.
yeah, and I love a good spell bomb that just sits in play and makes everyone like warp
Nervous.
their play around it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I like that one, and then not competitive, I don't think, but meddling use. I really just like the flavor and like the Scooby Doo reference. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would probably tinker with it at some point. So, but I'll have to let Scooby Drew do it first. So
If I could have redesigned Meddling Youths, I would have wanted it to be like generate a clue for each player you're attacking. That way it's like the split up gang reference.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No. Well, and they have the other one that what makes a dog and makes food too, like Scooby snacks. So
Yeah.
The token is hilarious for the dog.
yeah, I love the Scooby Doo like references, trying to be subtle but also not really at all.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that covers kind of like most of the commanders that we'll see. I mean, people will play other ones. There'll be ones that pop up, but competitive wise, probably not a lot going on in the commanders that are popping up here. But in commons, we have a little bit more going on. I guess I don't know.
Just a lot of near staples, like just getting the stuff that's similar to what we already have out of the way. Deduce is kind of like Behold the Multiverse. Demand Answers is just a slight upgrade to what is it? Thrill of Possibility.
Yeah.
Unauthorized Exit is just yet another non-land permanent bounce spell with slight upside. Escape Tunnel largely will fill the same role as E-Wilds. Extract Confession is probably the first one that's really something different than what we have. So Extract Confession, 2 mana black sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may collect evidence 6, which is exiling cards from your graveyard with total mana value 6 or greater. And each opponent sacrifices a creature. If evidence was collected, instead, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control.
Yeah. I mean, black has gotten just so many more one-sided edicts the last handful of sets. Tithing Blade, Vraska's Fall. I'm sure I'm missing one more, just like downshifts of edict creatures, Demon's Disciple. Like, black is getting a lot more of this kind of edict stuff, and it's gonna get gross. I know Clay and Gator and a few other folks are working on Sir Conrad as of late. This definitely goes in that pile.
I'm looking at it for Mahadi. Like, I've had a Mahadi control build that I've been slowly working on because Mahadi takes your removal and once again turns it into an offensive tool. But in this case, it's more banked up instead of being removable like a creature. Like, because he's just building up a pile of treasure, and then you fireball or you get a Mirkwood Bats in play and sack all the treasures or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it really struggles. Right now, I'm a bit heavy on the board wipe side and light on the targeted removal, and this is just a slam dunk for being able to take out the big threats that could chip down my life total more quickly while still keeping the whole table under control in a way that normal targeted removal can't.
Yeah, Mahadi seems like a really cool home. Mahadi is on my list that we'll talk about of commanders I want to tinker with. I mean, I brought up Sir Conrad. It's getting so much extra value from the exiling too. I know lots of decks won't have problems doing that, but getting the added value of that is really gross in that deck specifically. Yeah, I don't know. Black's removal is getting so much better just as sets go on, and I hope that other colors get some help in that department too. I know white has been getting more card draw, which is good for that. We can talk about Novice Inspector as like one example of that from this set. It feels weird talking about Novice Inspector because it was spoiled so long ago.
And is a functional reprint of
and
a card we already have.
Yeah, it's just a second Thraven Inspector, but Thraven Inspector is good. It goes in plenty of decks. I mean, there's not a lot to say about Novice Inspector other than it's good. If you want to play Thraven Inspector, you probably want to play 2. I don't know decks that would only want to play 1, but maybe I don't have any that come to mind, but definitely gets jammed in Abdel decks, gets jammed in a lot of white decks. One card you talked about a minute ago, Paul, was Escape Tunnel.
Oh yeah. So I know the pals are super stoked because of Scaretiller. I feel like the hype was a little overblown. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
It's going to see play all over the place, but I just think the second ability is going to come up less than 1% of the time. Because most of the time you'll be incentivized to go ahead and crack it for a basic long before you have an opportunity where the second ability would be worth it.
Yeah. David, go ahead.
I agree with that, but I think also having that extra ability stapled onto the land is just it's so good. the times that you top deck it on turn 10 or whatever and need to squeak in some points of damage, or I don't know, you're playing something that has pump spells and you can attack with something small and then pump it up.
Do you think you're going to try this out in Aranus, and do you actually see it making a difference there?
that's a good question. Aranus unfortunately has 3 power. Otherwise, it would be a slam dunk. But I'm already running like Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse,
Mhm.
and I feel like even if this just replaces one of those, it'll see play in that deck for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So what I was thinking about was just Ketis. This can give
yeah,
Ketis unblockable.
It can
yep,
give Malcolm unblockable,
it can. Yeah,
which is gross. Like I agree that I don't think the second ability is going to come up that often, but when it's just like an evolving wild or terramorphic with an extra thing you can maybe do sometimes it's relevant. Like it definitely just slots into any deck that was already playing those cards. Like you
yeah,
maybe don't need a third copy, or I mean some decks might not even have both of those in there, but it's just better than those because of this. You know,
yeah.
sometimes you get this. I think it's gonna come more in 60 card popper, for sure. You know, we were talking about Tireless Tribe. That's
Yep.
one deck that
Yeah.
jumps out. That's why David and I were talking about the Tireless Tribe.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I think it's just like a better Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse. It's cute with Scaretiller stuff. I'm like kind of excited to play it in like a World Heart Phoenix deck, but that is not competitive land. But yeah, it'll be neat. If it like enables something cool and new Voltron wise, I will be excited for it. But
What's
Yeah.
down in mid power? Tuya Bearclaw maybe. I think that starts out as a
Yeah,
yep,
that's the
yeah. Starts out as a
yeah,
2/2.
absolutely.
Attacks, gets +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among other creatures you control till end of turn. So give that unblockable, then swing and get the massive buff.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the cool part. The part where it doesn't like. There's so many ways to buff creatures after the fact that
Mhm.
I do like the way that it's worded so that you can give the thing unblockable now, and no matter what you do to it afterwards, that's still unblockable, and that's going to enable some
Yep.
silly stuff. So,
Yeah.
So
I was playing around with Disciplined Duelist, which I might tackle a little bit
yeah,
later about when we go through our kind of jank files. But yeah, like this is, it's a deck that's running things like Invigorate and Might of Old Krosa to give its, double striking commander huge buffs. And it's already a 3-color deck. I need the fixing anyways. If I don't need the fixing, I can get in with my commander and hopefully do a lot of damage. So yeah.
yeah.
like the timing of the tunnel is interesting. Like it's the reverse of something like the spheres. Like the spheres, it makes it easy to play it early and then crack it later when you have too
Yep.
many lands. But this is kind of the reverse. It's more like a cycling land where you have to decide early which half of it you want.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's one of those that's a better draw late in the game.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think
It feels a little bit like Lorien Revealed too. Like
Yeah.
most of the time you're just going to cycle it for a land, but sometimes, you'll be at a point where you can draw 3 cards with it and it's insane.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's like you said, most of the time it's this, and every once in a while there'll be something cool and you'll have a cool interaction, you'll do that and you'll be like, yep, this is awesome. I'm glad I have this slotted in over it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of copies of it. So there's that.
Me too. Yep.
Same with that demand answers you have pulled up.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
of these are similar to staples we already have, and I need 20 of them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's not. This is another card. Like there's not a lot to say about it, right? It's just like a similar to like Thrill of Possibility without like being you're down. Maybe not even like down a card if you're sacking an artifact and getting value that way.
Or like sacking an artifact in response to removal, even.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
this is just like an improved Thrill of Possibility that gives you some cool synergies with artifacts, and it's probably gonna get played a lot. Like it doesn't enable anything new. It's just another solid, like better version of cards we already have, and it's giving we talked about it. I talked about it with who is that? Chris and Liam a few weeks back. Like, we're just getting more and more reprints. Ooh, hey Derek. More and more reprints of like solid cards that are gonna give decks a lot more consistency and just redundancy, and like this kind of supporting card department. Not necessarily like the crazy combo pieces or anything like that, but just like the filling out your deck kind of cards, the draw, the removal, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Aranis, as we were slightly earlier, Aranis is already running Ichor Wellspring, Mycosynth Wellspring, Experimental Synthesizer,
And the artifact
Nimble
lands.
Right Schematic, all the things that I want to sacrifice those artifacts some way anyways. I might as well get some value, draw a couple cards off it. It runs the artifact lands that I can sacrifice, attack with Aranis, get the artifact land back into play, draw 2 cards in the process. Definitely a card I'm picking up for that deck.
Yeah. Any other? I know we want to talk about decks. I don't know if there's anything else.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, you guys would talk about. I have one I want to point out real quick. Puzzle brought this up, and then he and I talked about it a little bit. It's less of this card specifically, and more just like Suspect in general. Like, Suspect is gross. Like the mechanic. As a Gretchen player, I never ever want my Gretchen suspected ever, because all of a sudden
with his too.
I am in danger. And so he mentioned that earlier, and I was like, Puzzle, don't go telling everyone to do that. Like, bad. So yeah, Reasonable Doubt's one of the few cards with Suspect I think is like potentially playable. I don't see it coming up all that often, but I know Gretchen is going to be suspected, and I'll hate it.
If the meta stays fast, that counter, unless they pay 2, is more relevant.
Yeah.
If the meta slows down and goes more towards mid-range and control over the next year or two, then that mode of counter spell gets less useful.
Yeah.
True.
So we'll see. Any other cards from commons you guys wanted to touch on?
Make Your Move seemed interesting to me just as a comparison to Generous Gift, but I just wanted to make note of it for anyone else that's getting excited about it. This is considerably worse than Gift in competitive, just because it can't hit lands specifically for nuking the Gretchen players' enchanted land. So I'm excited about that, but that excitement's getting checked specifically for competitive.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm eager to see them continue playing with modal white removal. Hopefully we'll get a banger eventually at 2 mana that will revolutionize the way white interacts. That's my hope. Give me this at 2 mana.
I mean, Generous Gift's pretty gross already. So, but yeah, I'm sure we'll continue to see more of this kind of like really like broad removal. Like,
yeah. I mean, I would be really happy for a Generous Gift that costs 2 mana and hits only creatures. Like, white desperately needs something that costs less than 3 mana.
Yeah.
And is instant speed.
Yeah. Something like what is it? Valorous Stance is the card that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not that. That's still too narrow, maybe. But yeah. What about you, David? Any other cards you want to touch on?
I know there was a little bit of hype around Snarling Gorehound.
Oh yeah.
The costs 1 black mana. It's a 1/1 dog with menace, and whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you get a Surveil 1.
Yeah.
Which, for a 1-drop, that's kind of a lot of value.
Yeah, I like this card in Abdel Black. I like this card in Sir Conrad. I'm sure there's other stuff I'm missing, but those are the first 2 that come to mind that get to really like exploit that in a very gross way.
Yeah, there's if we want to transition into our kind of decks in progress file, I do have a Abomination of Llanowar deck I've been working on, and just kind of elf tribal, but all the elves have power 2 or less basically. So that's a lot of surveilling off this little guy. So
yeah, I think that is sweet. I imagine it doing really gross things, and Abdel was the first thought I saw when I saw that card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just constantly entering in mass. Like,
Yeah.
go find whatever card you want, dig five,
For
6
sure,
cards
yep.
in your deck.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Find the next
Yep. The
blink
next
spell to
piece
keep the chain going. Yeah,
or the next piece of protection.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
just real gross.
So before we moved on to the decks, Pick Your Poison, I thought looked really good for competitive. I know green is just like the laughing stock of competitive in some aspects right now, but the sacrifice and enchantment, or each opponent sacrifices an enchantment, that seems really relevant with how many backgrounds we have and with the enchanted lands on Gretchen. Like, it seems pretty easy to have at least 2 out of 3 players having a very high value target to knock off the field.
Yeah, this card got a lot of hype initially, and then kind of people cooled on it a little bit. It'll like you said, green isn't getting played a whole lot unless it's in the Simic combo decks, and then they're mostly blue anyway. I think this could be sweet, but most of the time it's gonna pick off like one specific thing, and like it's just like a 1 mana 1 removal spell, right? So like that's not bad.
I see it as a value thing because it's going to get one thing you're aiming at and one thing that's just tangential value that you don't care about, but that still helps you. And to me, the big thing is that it's 1 mana. 1 mana means that a potential mid-range deck, or a snowball deck like Kadira, could play this and then go on and keep holding up their mana for Benevolent Blessing or something like that. Like, it's so cheap, and getting even just that little bit of extra value beyond the one thing you were aiming for seems really good to me.
Yeah, I think it could be good. I'm curious. Like, it's really I'm in my head. I'm only ever thinking of it. It's gonna nuke some flyers or nuke enchantments. I don't see the artifact mode coming up very often personally, but who knows?
Yeah, the artifact mode I'm excited about just as an option. Like,
yeah, it's just there.
We don't have any way to mass remove artifacts, and it's a step in that direction.
Yeah.
Slice from the Shadows, uncounterable black -X/-X spell. Probably too expensive, but more can't be countered stuff is really cool.
Yeah, there's also the red one too.
The
new 5 mana version of that.
Oh, that one, yeah. I totally
similar thing. Yeah. I think this is like Wizards their way of addressing Ward, I believe.
Yeah, even has it in the reminder text.
Yeah, so they're gonna we're gonna see more of this stuff, I think, over time. Just more stuff that can't be countered, which is both cool and very annoying as a blue player.
I mean, from a color pipe perspective, like, there's been that frustration with blue for decades about how it's, like, jokingly the most powerful color in Magic, and how people are pessimistic about that ever changing. And to me, spreading around more can't be countered is a big way to limit the vast flexibility of counter spells. So just from a design perspective, I really like seeing this more.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll allow it allows non-combo decks or non-blue decks ways to fight over things in ways they maybe like couldn't fight over as well, or as like it doesn't dodge hexproof. Like, there's a bunch of things that still stop it. So like the various protection spells,
or even just a pump spell.
Yeah. So there's still ways to get around it. It's just you're forcing people to play those spells instead of counter spells, and then they have to have them at the right time. So it's kind of pushing people to have a more diversified interaction suite.
And if combo decks don't have as many counter spells because they're moving towards the hexproof stuff to defend their own combos, then they don't have as many cards that are both removal and protection, so they aren't as capable of doing anything about proactive decks.
Yeah.
Which might make our, aggro, or not aggro trend, but like the turbo combo trend, it might make that worse, but I'm also kind of hopeful that it leaves more room for mid-range decks to deploy their own threats without as much interference. That's my silver lining.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. It it'll be interesting. I mean, we only have those heated debate, the new red one and that one are like the new
Yep.
3. As we get more and more of those, I think we're gonna have like those shifts are gonna have to like happen in a much bigger way. And I mean, we're kind of seeing it already as like the meta game is getting faster. Like people are relying more on the 1 mana, like, you know, the snakeskin veils. They give myself hexproof. They give my thing can't be targeted by other people stuff. Like all of those. Like people are kind of already moving in that direction. So maybe this isn't as backbreaking as it could be. I'm curious if they do anything to try to get around that kind of stuff too, or if they're just gonna stick to the this can't be countered. But yeah, it will be interesting as they kind of move further and further down this. I don't know if I want to call it rebalancing the color pie, but like I don't know, they're kind of like redefining parts of the color pie, or just like putting things where they weren't before. Not necessarily like, you know, breaking it, but
I mean, to me, seeing
them
this
out.
black spells this time is very much a set dependent thing. I wouldn't like, from the way I've heard Maro talk about when they do breaks to suit the needs of a set in draft, this feels like one of those and not a precedent of blacks going to get can't be countered frequently.
Right. I think it'll happen like a few, like maybe one a set or something, not even that, but there'll just be more and more over time. If they stick to ward, if they ever move away from ward, maybe they'll stop focusing on that. But which, who knows? Yet to be seen. They seem to be a big fan of it. So, but yeah. So real quick, I know we kind of talked and touched on a few of them as we are talking on that. And Paul, you brought up this idea of talking about decks that we are all working on or like have in the hopper that are like not quite there or in progress, you know, some form of not done yet or not a final product yet. What decks are you excited about that are kind of in that zone?
I've had 3 concepts that I've been talking about for a while, and I have lists that I need to test more. Sheree, the Azorius tap down commander, Kutsil, and the Akiri from Commander Masters. All of them look like interesting mid-range concepts to me where they could draw you multiple cards a turn cycle. And I have 25 to 30 pieces of removal, not protection, removal in each of those brews, and I'm trying to figure out, like, they all kind of function the same way where it's trying to use that card draw to consistently keep one removal spell in hand just so that you can always mess with the combo player. It's just getting the draw engine set up without lowering your shields is really difficult, but it's something I've been trying to work on. I just kind of got sidetracked over Christmas because I was building some decks for friends back home, like Witherbloom, Bloom Apprentice, and Phyrexian Censor. So I need to get back to testing those mid-range concepts.
Akiri seems sweet. I was excited about it when we got spoiled, never got around to building it. It keeps getting better, like the more they print these, like the treasure making artifacts, for example, like cheap, decent artifacts that don't like have these super crazy equip costs that like are actually a big burden and like can blow you out when you're like spending half a turn to, or half your mana in a turn to just equip it before you're going to combat. But yeah, I mean, I think a curious one that like will get better over time. And when it first came out, I was kind of underwhelmed by it. But I mean, what they printed out, Beamtown, Beatstick, Prying Blade was already out. There have been a handful of new equipment, I think, that slot in.
Goldvein Pick is the other one.
Yeah.
So, and all the ones that have a dude attached to them already, Ancestral Blade, the red one that I'm blanking on.
All the from seemed a little overcosted.
But I like that they come pre-equipped, so you don't have to spend that mana the first time to get the draw engine going, which is kind of nice. Akiri seems sweet. Kutzel, I've played against a few times, various lists. Not being able to do stuff on a person's turn is annoying.
I just played against Kutzel in mid-power this past week. and we just kept getting caught off guard. Like someone would have like a life gain trick that this happened to North Dakota. He had a life gain trick, Sheltering Word, that was going to keep him alive for one more turn, and he was like, "Wait, I can't play it," and he died.
Yeah.
Yeah. I channel and cycling abilities work wonders against Kutzel, I learned. That's my pro tip. If you end up play things that have abilities that
Mirror
don't require
Crab getting stronger.
Exactly. What about you, David? What decks are you kind of excited about or working on?
So I am almost done with my first more casual deck for Pauper EDH, which I'm going to bring to Chicago, which is Sea Singer. It's it's a little bit blinky, but mostly it's just trying to like steal stuff and then get a ghostly flicker loop going so you can keep the stuff that you steal. Because ghostly flicker returns the creature to your side of the battlefield, not its owner's control. Excited to see if that'll do anything. Like I mentioned earlier, I was working on Disciplined Duelist. I'm not sure that it's better than Satyr Enchanter. But the fact that it's Satyr Enchanter, but you also get a little bit more stack interaction, get things like, I don't know, Distortion Strike, some of the cool blue auras. I don't know. It probably needs a little bit more tweaking, and it may just be that the 3-color mana base is too onerous to make it really competitive. But I've had some like pretty solid turns. You can fairly consistently kill somebody on, turn 4, turn 5.
Nice.
So
Double strike is a real gross thing. So
yeah, double strike really gross. The shield counter not quite as relevant as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Too many things that either remove it by remove it without killing
Damage,
it, obviously, but like it doesn't do anything, or it just like dies to an edict, which doesn't do anything with the shield counter, and that's rough.
Yeah.
So
or
the
a
other
-X -X spell.
Yeah.
The other deck that I don't think is quite there, and may never be there, but is Blood Boil Sorcerer. If you're familiar with that one, I was talking with this to Bobby a little bit ago. But Blood Boil Sorcerer, 4 mana, 3/3. So already the stats are off the charts. 4 mana, 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative, and then for 1 in a red and sacrifice an artifact or a creature, you get a goad target creature. So my build has a lot of, again, the Ichor Wellspring type effects that I love sacrificing my own stuff, but I love sacrificing my opponent's stuff even more. So there's a lot of active treasons, bloody betrayals, goat nap, hijack, just all that kind of stuff. To try and take something, eat it, goad something else, keep the initiative going. Probably
several of those theft effects also have a token attached to them. Like
absolutely,
Rivalry gives you a Power Stone.
Yep. Bloody Betrayal gives you a blood token. So I don't know. Is it the best deck ever? It certainly isn't. It's probably like mid power, high power at best, but a deck I've been toying with, and I think it checks a lot of boxes for me, if nothing else. So
I like how it feels similar to Carter in a way. Like you get to, but it only deals with things you actually care about dealing with combat wise.
Carter turns everyone against you because it's going to just suck for everyone. Whereas Blood Boil you can make deals with.
And it's easier to reproc. Like Carter, you have to get dead or recast or whatever. Blood Boil, you just have to have another thing to sack, and there's no you can make stuff pretty easily. You can steal other people's stuff fairly easily with all the red active trees and type spells. So that I'm excited to see how that ends up playing for you. So
yeah, for sure.
I have a few things I've been working on. I have been preparing for Chicago, so I've just been buying a bunch of decks to have sleeved up. And now I have way more than I thought I would ever have sleeved up at the same time, which is a cool problem to have because then I don't know what I want to play when I'm getting ready to sit down for a game.
Yeah.
I've been working on Crackling Drake as of late. Pretty high on the idea for that. It's playing double strike spells, which makes Drake very easy, like to turn to a one shot on someone, along with Flicker combo. I've been working on Disciple of Deceit, which I'm also really excited about.
Which combo are you doing in there?
So there, my game plan is go for the freed combo first, because you want to get the untapper guys that are just good with Disciple. So just worst case, if the freed combo doesn't work out, you establish an untapper that to kind of get things going for later. And then if the freed combo doesn't happen because there's not a lot of redundancy for it, alternate into switch into the Ghostly Flicker, Drake, Cloud of Fairies game plan.
I've just been really high for years on Banishing Knack in that deck because Banishing Knack clusters your mana costs more than Ghostly Flicker.
Yeah. I figuring that part out was a lot harder than I thought, but I got it.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah, the way I figured, I got it down to really 1s and 3s are the keys. You have a lot of 2s just because you're playing counter magic. So with the 2s, I have a bunch of ways that just like find me 1s and 3s, whether it's merchant scrolls or dig pieces, or there's a few like wonky or like Contaminated Ground is a 2-drop and it can enable the freed combo if we're getting spicy with things. So it's cool. I like it. I've only played a few games with it, but I've had success. It's a mental workout to play because you have to remember every single card in your deck. I think David described it the other day somewhere, like Bobby just gets to play mental magic while everyone else is playing, with the cards in their hand. And that's both cool and awful at the same time. But it does you get to play with some like more off the wall cards and sneak in some silver bullets that you wouldn't normally play, and I'm a big fan of that. So
I've got a casual reanimator disciple that just does shenanigans like discard Archaeomancer to go get reanimate spell, reanimate Archaeomancer, get the reanimation spell back in hand, and I keep trying to search for counterspell, not remembering that I only have negate.
Disciple is sweet. And then I have played a few games with Mentir. Has been working on a Torwaki list, and I played a few games with that, and it's surprisingly fun. It's just like a bunch of shocks, a bunch of mana rocks, and a bunch of draw 2s. And I mean, it's awesome because the shocks kill everything you care about early. And then late game, your draw 2s just turn into kill whatever you care about late, and your shocks turn into kill anything late, not just like the little stuff. So,
and if you have enough rocks, then it reduces the trouble with casting and recasting Torwaki.
Yeah, and Torwaki, I in the few games I've played, Torwaki didn't get messed with too much, which was obviously helpful in that. But yeah, I mean, if Torwaki gets handled, like shocks just kill a surprising amount of the things you care about in the competitive landscape right now. Like, it doesn't kill Abdel, it doesn't kill Gretchen, but kills all the untappers or most of the untappers. So like Abdel's like the one where it's like, okay, this is kind of tricky, but you can just do two shocks if you
need
to.
Put in that new collect the evidence edict.
Exactly. So yeah, like it gets a lot of cool toys, and I like it so far. And then casual wise, I've been brewing a lot more, and I'm really excited about this World Heart Phoenix deck I've been working on. I played it on one more game Chris's stream the other night. I got to live the dream of mirror shelling Alcadron's Rune of Protection red with he only had 1 mana to activate it, and I felt like a genius. But it's just like a Coggates deck that it's like hidden Commander Basilisk Gate. I don't remember who described it. Maybe it was David, maybe it was someone else.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, Hidden Commander Basilisk Gate, the deck, which is really sweet, really fun, and I get to play all these cool old border guild gates now. So it's just like reliving my favorite limited environment of a decade ago. In return,
I have a million guild gates from when I was going to build a cube, and I still have nothing to do with them. So maybe I just need to build a gate deck.
Dude, I mean, I love this deck, so I would highly recommend it. And it like you can, it's just so easy to swap stuff in and out. You know, I talked with Sniff How about it, and he he said something like, "I can't believe you captured like, you know, the pals meta so like well with how this looks." And it's like,
well, that's high grades.
Yeah, and like, you know, I have Howling Golem in there. I think I had or have Scaretiller in there. It goes in and out as I'm tinkering with it, but like you could just replace so many threats with whatever you want. You can be more of a lockdown deck. You can be more of a just big guy deck. You can be a reanimator type deck. Like I hadn't messed with like 5-color much in PDH before this, and like there's just so much cool stuff you can do. And you get to like flicker big dumb things that are cool, like Shattered Seraph and Sparrow's Adjudicators, like the was it the new Capenna, like 3 mana expensive things.
Exile it. You can tap a land for any color that's in that shard.
Yeah, so you're like fixing your mana, and you get this big dumb thing you get to play later. It plays flickers, so like you get to rebuy those. Like they're not crazy under the battlefield abilities, but they're like, one is gain 3 life on the Esper one. The Bant one is like,
it's utility.
Yeah, it's just cool stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited about that deck. So, but yeah, I don't have any other decks I want to talk about. Any other cards I want to talk about? Do you guys have anything you want to chat about before we kind of get to some games here?
I just rebuilt Gorex. I love discard control, and I'm still trying to make it work in mid power. Still awful competitive.
Yeah, it's on my. I think I talked to you and Alcadron about it when I was like first getting my feet wet in kind of the more casual side of things, because I started off just like straight into the competitive end. Tadiova was the first deck I built, and stuck to that. But yeah, Gorex seems sweet. You know, Black Dargo, quote unquote, not really, but big. I mean, I have a Nemesis of Mortals, which I call Green Dargo. So just like these big dumb creatures that can effectively just be 1 or 2 mana with all these, you know, self-mill type stuff, which Gorex wants to do just like Nemesis of Mortals does. Yeah, I mean, that I'm excited to see that and maybe get a game against you with it. So I love self-mill and like self-discard strategies. So that's why I'm very excited about that mill with Aftermath Analyst guy too. So
yeah,
Mind Lash Sliver is a house in Gorex.
Mind Lash Sliver.
1 drop, pay 1, sacrifice it. Each player discards a card, so it gets you 2 creatures in your graveyard.
Gross, and makes everyone hate you.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, I think I pulled up the games that are going on, and it looks like the first game is actually wrapping up, and Pod 2 just started up. I think we will take a quick break and then come back and jump in on whichever one of those is kind of newly underway, and go from there, if that sounds good to you guys.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. We will be right back.
Is there a way to
Never knew, baby, all
my struggle, you stand by me. When I was alone, when I felt hurt, you came into my life and I will show you what you love me, you believe in me. I'll give you my best. I promise you that I will never leave. Never leave.
There is light inside of the darkness. After the fire burns low, after you've lost all hope, there is light inside of the darkness. Yeah, after the fire burns low, after you've lost all hope, lose your fear, lose your fear, lose. Sunday turned into Friday. I spent 5 days hiding, trying everything to forget you, trying to get back to my youth. Oh, how things have changed. I've fallen from grace. I miss the days when it was just me. Before I met you, before I got all these wounds. You said I love you always, but always as a promise that no one can keep. Thought you were the one in my dreams. Guess I'll just keep fantasizing. You said I love you always, but always as a promise that no one can keep. Thought you were the one in my dreams. Guess I'll just keep fantasizing. I'm awake at 2 a.m. in a cold sweat 'cause the bed gets colder and colder. Don't know what I'm doing, it's so confusing, can't find my footing. Oh, how things have changed. I've fallen from grace. I miss the days when it was just me. Before I met you, before I got all these wounds. You said I love you always, but always as a promise that no one can keep. Thought you were the one in my dreams. Guess I just keep fantasizing.
I always focus on the details. I get obsessive like a one track. You always live inside the moment. You forget that you still have to own it. And the time flies by, and you're by my side. But we had good time. It's been a long, long ride. If you crash on down, I'll be there to catch you. If you need me now, you won't wait long. If you crash on down, I'll be there to catch you. If you need me now, you won't wait long. If you crash on down, if you need me now. Don't have the energy we used to. I miss when we would see the sunrise. Still got that feeling, it's the real truth. Whoa, if you crash on down, I'll be there to catch you. If you need me now, you won't wait long. If you crash on down, I'll be there
All right.
Success. I see it.
We did it. All right. We are back. Whales. All right. So we're back. David, myself, and Paul all made it here. We had a little bit of wait as they were getting set up for this game, but we have a doozy of a pod. We were talking about Aethersworn Sphinx earlier, and Liam made sure we got to see it in action. So, yeah, we got Gator in seat 1, Dargo Kedis, Liam in seat 2 on Aethersworn Sphinx, a sandwich in seat 3 also on Dargo Kedis, and then Hive in seat 4 on Wilson Far Traveler. So that's a pod. What are your guys' thoughts? Just like looking
There
at
we
this.
go. Gonna upgrade that token.
Yeah, sweet token.
There you go.
I'm just wishing one of them was playing black because I would love to see just like 2 Dargos get edict at once.
Yeah, that would be gross. I do not like the chances of the non-Dargo players in this pod personally.
Agreed. It's a rough
Yeah.
road.
It's
The
gonna
real
be-
question is, will either of the Dargos hobble the other one?
You kind of have to, I think. Which will create a really awkward, like, okay, we're going to beat up each other, and then the other two can kind of team up against whichever one's left over. But they'll do so much incidental damage along the way that it maybe just doesn't matter.
Yeah. Last time I
mean-
played a Dargo Mirror, I was on Dargo Keleth, and Puzzle was on Dargo Kedis, and I think I died on turn 3.
Jeez.
We both had turn 1 Dargos. I attacked Puzzle. He attacked me back, but he had the Buccaneers Bravado. So that
I mean,
that
I
was
have
the
no
end of
idea
me.
about Hive's build, but I mean, Wilson's certainly capable of packing some crazy lifelink enchantments that go on Wilson. So maybe that could give Wilson more of a chance.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that like Hive plays a lot of permanents that want to be flickered, and there's a bit of the like Wilson Voltron plan as well. So like there's a chance where like once the Dargos have smacked each other around enough and there's only one, Hive can just like continue to journey it and O-ring it enough that Dargo just never matters ever again, and the board is clogged up enough. I mean, Aethersworn Sphinx also plays a lot of permanents, but I don't think there's tons of creatures. Maybe I'm wrong and I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't actually know the combo build of Sphinx that well.
Yeah, and I don't know what Liam is running, if he's running combo stuff or not. I mean, he's on Ethereum Sculptor, but that card's just like good in the deck anyway,
Yeah.
so who knows?
Yeah, it's a 2 mana discount on Sphinx.
Yeah. Wales is saying Hive's deck now runs stickers, so it's this, which is the second best mechanic.
I love it.
But yeah, and we got stickers in play. I don't know. The thing with stickers, I never know is do people care about the ability or do they care about the power and toughness? So,
I mean, with Wilson, the sticker for power and toughness can matter. Like,
yeah,
It's true.
bump it up to a 5/1.
yeah. So Hive has Slimy Burrito Illusion, and if we're just like looking at the two ticket parts, there's Bushido 2 and 2/4 power and toughness. There's a Misunderstood Trapeze Elf, which is the 2 mana. Whenever you cast a spell, the stickered creature gets +X/+X, where X is the amount of generic mana in that spell's cost, or 4/2 power toughness. Then we have Unstable Robot Dragon, which is 1 switches creature's power and toughness till end of turn, or 3/2. So,
I mean, the 4/2 seems pretty relevant.
yeah, I mean, there's some good ones there. So, yeah, I mean, so things are going. I know we were talking about the decks, but a sandwich landed Dargo last turn. Hive has the Thraven Inspector plus a Wilson. Liam landed Ethereum Sculptor. And Gator has a pretty clear Dargo this turn setup with having sacked Mog War Marshal to Echo. So
Yep.
Everyone is doing the thing early.
2 weeks ago, I got to walk one of my friends through playing a Dargo Breaches deck and seeing him get to do the thing where Dargo was cast, removed, and then getting to recast them the same turn. And
Gross.
him realizing that the discount stuck around and how much he loved that. That was a great moment. I love teaching people that are a little newer to the game, and it's just super rewarding.
Have I got some CDH stuff they may be interested in? Because that is gross. Yeah, Dargo is a messed up card.
Yeah, for sure.
No, the friend I was having play that was he just wants to see the world burn. So I'm sending him Phyrexian Censor and Witherbloom Apprentice Control.
Ugh,
Yeah.
gross. Witherbloom seems kind of neat. I've never actually played it, but I hate Phyrexian Censor, so
I'm trying it with non-rebels.
that's
For getting back to the game, I'm curious to see how quick this build of Sphinx can ramp up, because my build for mid power, it takes its time getting the value train rolling. And I'm curious to see if this is the combo build. Does it pack more like 0 and 1 drop artifacts that it can flood out?
Yeah, I am also curious. I mean, he's got a good chunk of mana early. He's casting Everflowing Chalice for 1 into an Ethereum Spinner, which is one of my favorite commons of all time.
Oh yeah.
I don't have enough places to play it, but I love it.
I played in Maverick Thopterist. I don't remember if I've included it in Sphinx yet. It definitely needs to be there.
Yeah, it's a sweet one. I mean, he's getting set up pretty well to play a Sphinx next turn. So there's unfortunately 2 Dargos that can attack between now and then.
Yeah.
But if either Dargo attacks, it leaves them open to the other Dargo?
I don't know how much.
Well, Caddis will come out soon,
Caddis,
so it won't
yeah.
matter.
Caddis is also a factor.
Yeah. Gator is in a better spot to like Caddis plus Double Strike. I guess they're both kind of similarly situated for that, I guess. But Gator does get like the benefit of being first in turn order, so kind of like just a turn ahead of everyone else.
Yep.
Which is that much more disgusting when you're playing Dargo. So.
I do like the stickers. I've been trying to put them in more decks recently. Like, I wish green and blue weren't the only ones with the self-contained ways to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you have to rely too much on like blinking or rebuying a bunch of the like 1-ticket guys that aren't super exciting.
Like if we had gotten the lifelink sticker and he had actually gotten that on Wilson, that would have been pretty massive for this game.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we're gonna shiny impetus up Gator's Dargo.
That's just good for Gator. Doesn't
Yeah,
care who he
that's
attacks.
that's
so,
just extra. That's just extra
get
damage
out
on that
Caddis,
Dargo.
yeah.
Get out Caddis, that's still 9 damage to a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't we see shiny impetus on a Dargo backfire in one of the recent tournaments? I want to say that pattern sounds familiar.
I feel like it came up in. Maybe I'm wrong. When Caitlyn won, maybe I'm misremembering.
Yes, but I believe that did happen. I don't think I was in that game, but I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, shiny impetus. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool early when it's not attacking you, but then when you're the only one left, you're like, oh, I just made this guy giant. At least I get a cool treasure.
Yep.
But yeah, This is like an awkward spot for Sandwich because, he's throwing Dargo at Hive, which I think is probably a good call. Hive has all like the enchantment based removal that can deal with Dargos at sorcery speed.
Right.
Yep.
And they can clog up the board better than I think Liam will be able to, like in meaningful ways.
But if they get too scared of Hive and Hive does manage to hold them off, then it might just hand the game to Sphinx if he's playing a combo build.
Yeah. Which would be, this is like a really interesting pod dynamic, just like the two mega like speedy Voltron commanders that like also don't care who they connect with necessarily. Hive does gain a bunch of life though, so like if Hive needs to be more worried about commander damage, I think, than actual damage. So I don't
I would
know.
actually disagree with that. I don't think commander damage is going to matter as much because a single, like, he can be getting hit by both Dargos.
Yeah, but if he, but he has to then be able to answer both Dargos, right? Like you gotta,
Right.
So like that's
Right.
the trickier part. And this deck can get some card advantage, but I mean Selesnya isn't exactly known for that, right? So it'll have a little bit of an uphill battle if it doesn't
do you mean?
already have this.
There's a Thraben Inspector right there. That's card
That's
advantage.
true. Yeah.
All right. I wonder if Hive is thinking about slapping an aura on this bear, or if we're gonna see some sort of aura removal on a Dargo, because it is a little bit hard to figure out which
Yeah. Like if
one
it
you
were
want to take
just
out.
if it were just plain Dargos, I could see a like +3/+3 enchantment really mattering for the Vigilance, keeping Wilson back for defense while also starting to apply pressure of his own. But
Yep.
the fact that there's a 7-butt Dargo on Gator's field means that feels a lot less like a good solution.
Yeah, and Hive just running out of Kisali Pride Mage. I do like that part of the dynamic we didn't talk about, like the shiny impetus on Gator's Dargo makes Gator's Dargo scarier for everyone else. So
More
it
like
kind of like, hey, go look at that problem. Don't worry about mine. Look that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I like that. I don't know. It's awkward. Like I don't think this Kasali Pride Mage is gonna do a whole lot to mess with the Dargo game plan, but
I mean, it might just blow up shiny impetus,
yeah, it might be like, hey, do you want to attack a sandwich?
which is a shame because it seems like a good piece to hold up for slowing down Liam.
Yeah, but like I said,
Yeah.
I think
First thing first.
Liam, our Hive has a lot of disenchant type stuff in the deck, so I don't know how. Like you can use one on this and not be too worried. I think there's like Conclave Naturalists type effects in there, Mass Vandals. I think so.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love
Wickerbot
Disenchant
Elder. Assuming the list hasn't changed since I've seen those cards cast before by Hive. So.
Yep. Yep. So the bear went at a sandwich, and now looks like it's probably Kedis time, I would think.
Yeah.
But oh, do we have a spell?
By the way, what is that card to the left of a Sandwich's Dargo? I didn't get a good look at it.
That's the
Shiny
impetus.
Oh, okay, got it. I thought it was a creature.
Alright.
That's what was throwing me off.
All right, so Gator with a prize statue, probably into Kedis. I would think.
Another thing to note is that outside of in a journey to nowhere or a rest of some sort, Gator's Dargo probably isn't going anywhere with that Goblin
Trojan.
Surgeon in play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 goblins is fodder plus the
Plus the Surgeon itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that that mainly messes up a sandwich as opposed to the other two. Liam, I assume, is playing plenty of ways to bounce because he wants to bounce his own guy, and then
I mean, Gator's Dargo getting bounced would just be a small speed bump. He has so much fodder. He can recast Dargo.
right. I'm just saying in terms of like the Surgeon being something that matters for
Yeah.
like a speed bump for any. Like I think it impacts just the other Dargo Kedis player more than the other two decks in this specific pod, just based on what types of removal or interaction they're going to be running.
A fadeaway, if it's in the Aethersworn Sphinx deck, would be pretty funny right now, because everyone has a good number of creatures and not a ton of mana available.
Yeah. All right, Gator's still thinking on whether he wants to cast this Kedis or something else, I guess. But I mean, if you're Gator, I don't know.
Yeah.
The only reason I could see not running out of Kedis is if you have like a double strike spell and you want to try to kill someone right here.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I mean, there's not a lot of ways to protect Dargo in this deck. That's just kind of how it is. And
I mean, if
Surgeon is like one of the better ones.
If he has a double strike spell, he doesn't run it out now. He gets one hit on everyone, and then he uses the double strike next turn to finish off the whole table, right?
It wouldn't kill everyone.
If it's
well, yeah, it could kill everyone. Yeah.
If it's one of the ones that also gives +1/+1, it certainly could.
Yeah. With the if the impetus is still around, that helps a lot with that plan. Okay, so I don't know.
Yeah, like a sandwich took the damage, and Liam took the Kedis damage.
Well, Liam had to. So Dargo's goated. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It can't be.
So Liam took the commander damage. It looks like.
Okay.
Based on spell table, but. Yeah.
Yeah, sandwich just marked the damage first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a big old swing.
Yep.
All right, so Sphinx costs 4 less, so it costs 5. He has 4 mana.
I mean, what can Liam even do right now to defend himself from Kedis triggers? Because if a sandwich plays Kedis and takes his chance to swing back at Gator, like,
yeah, you gotta have a removal spell or a bounce spell or just something.
Well, that's the thing, is you would need multiple in this case.
An Echoing Truth, funnily enough, would be pretty great.
Yeah.
That would be
All
really good. Like, wait for the
comes
Dargo
the
to swing
Sphinx.
and bounce it.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Am I missing something? I feel like he's one off.
I also feel like. Let's see. So
I don't know what the land behind the island is.
It's a Mystic Sanctuary.
Oh, okay.
3.
Oh, nice hit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think he is.
Maybe that red. Well, no, the red token. I don't think that's a treasure.
No.
I don't think he would have gotten a treasure from anywhere either.
Yeah, I don't know. We will let them deal with that. I am not going to.
Liam's a judge.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. Yeah, I mean that is a pretty good hit off of that though.
Yep.
Does not deal with the Dargo problem, but it does. I mean, it sort of does though. Like it blocks. These things block Dargo really well, and Liam actively wants Aethersworn Sphinx to die. So.
Yeah. It's funny. I think that red thing is the token from the RIW 1K, which I am also playing with at the moment.
Yeah, I've got the green one in on my nightstand.
Yeah, mine is on my desk too. So. All right.
Which colors did you all choose?
I chose blue.
I went with the red one.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I have mine in this thing right here. So.
Yeah.
So
So the tap land, is that the first strike land,
yeah,
or
Looming Spire, or no, Teetering
or
Peaks.
is it a 1/1
No, it's Looming
counter?
Spire, so it's +1/+1 in first strike.
Okay.
So this turns any double strike spell into a one shot, which is cute. Not just Buccaneers Bravado. I don't think
And
anything's
he's got
going
two
through
treasures.
unblocked, but
I mean, if he could get rid of a ton of fodder on Gator's field, that certainly helps
All blade
removal be
scam.
more effective.
yeah, Sawblade Scamp there. Um, which is a hasty 1/1. I
Like
wonder if
right now it's that weird Mexican standoff of the things that need to be removed are all equally a threat, so it's hard to decide where the removal goes, and it's easy to just like feel like you have to hold on to it until a better opportunity arises.
yeah,
Yep.
that's how.
So if it feels like a sandwich could make Gator look like a better opportunity to remove if he gets rid of fodder.
So what's this other? So I guess I would assume it just goes at Gator. Gator
Yeah,
only-
I believe that's what happened. Should be
I mean,
extra
Should be
damage
8 though.
now.
The Sword Coast Serpent and the Thopters could trade with Dargo, so that's definitely not where he wants to go.
Not this turn though, because it's first strike. So
Oh,
this is-
that's right. Yeah,
this is like
I
the
was
one
just talking
turn.
about the +1/+1.
Yeah. So what? Who took that there? Unclear.
Yeah, no one's
Was
marked for
that
commander damage yet.
Should be 8 commander damage, but
If Gator gets an untap, does he just kill Liam? Because he has 9 commander damage on him already.
I mean, he can if he kills Liam, he kills Hive.
yeah?
Yeah, that's fair.
I
But
Yeah.
then does he just die on the
Just get-
backlash?
yeah.
Depends if he thinks there's a double strike spell.
I mean, Gator can't do anything against a sandwich because of the impetus.
Right.
Unless this is where like the issue is like Hive wants to negotiate, but Hive also can't because Hive is just dead no matter what. So like
So if it comes down to everyone else is eliminated and it's back to a sandwich and Gator, then Gator can attack a sandwich with
yeah.
the goated creature.
Correct. Yep.
I'm trying to figure out who took that 8 commander damage, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know that Hive can do anything anymore. Unfortunately for them. Liam
Yeah.
potentially has some game. I'm just trying to think of like how like I don't know if Hive plays Fogs. Like that's like the
Yeah,
out
that would be
now.
a saving grace.
Right.
But like the
yeah.
issue is I don't know. Like it doesn't feel good. Like you're just like fogging and then I don't know what like the end goal is. Delaying the
Yep.
inevitable.
Making
But-
a chance for the Dargos to go after each other more. Or you do a fog that selectively prevent damage to you and not to others.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like Wilson is attacking Sandwich, and before damage, we're
Throwing it.
chucking Kedis at something
Yeah. Huh.
to get a counter on the Sawblade Scamp. Unclear what is getting hit.
I'm curious why.
I am also curious.
Because like,
Because
Oh,
if
okay.
if this killed Hive, I could maybe see it, but it doesn't look like the damage went over there.
yeah, like it doesn't kill Hive. The 2 from
He
Wilson,
it
sorry, 3 from Wilson isn't that big of a deal.
it looks like the improvised club
Okay.
damage went to Gator's face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Gator. Yeah, well, and so did the Scamp. So it looks like. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but okay.
It might have just been absorbing the damage with Scamp from Wilson.
Yeah,
To where it didn't take too much, and then
I mean,
his
Kedis
stuff's
doesn't.
already dying, so he got the damage he could out of it.
Yeah, I mean, this Kedis isn't doing much the rest of the game. Admittedly,
Yeah, because
I get
Gator's
that,
Caddis will finish the job.
but yeah,
All right. It looks like Caddis is being regenerated. If I understood that hand motion correctly.
yeah, that was my read as well.
Well, a sandwich is open, so Caddis can definitely get damage in without worrying about blockers.
I don't know why he would try to double regenerate here though. That will not
No.
do anything super cool. Oh, he might have just been explaining it more.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, you get some damage in on a sandwich, but it's not enough to be lethal, and then you're dead on the crackback if you don't leave. I mean, you're not dead on the crackback, but you're hurting on the crackback. I mean, I think you just like. Yeah, because if Kedis gets through to a sandwich,
Does Gator run flings?
I don't believe so.
Because that would be one. If he had it, that would be pretty deadly. Like, as long as he connects somewhere. So let's see. He could get 3 damage over the top on Hive. No, that wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, because you can't. He wants to try to take out Liam, I think, in addition to Hive, but like the issue is that you get the 1 in from Kedis on everyone, which is nice. But everyone can block enough from Dargo that it doesn't kill them, I believe. So
I
everyone's
wonder if the
going to.
regeneration is something like, are we setting up a breath weapon, which would take out all of Hive's blockers?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
would like deal 2. So it would take out Hive's blockers, which would also, with Kedis getting in, deal 10 to Liam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think he runs breath weapon. If I recall, I don't know
I
for sure.
I can't imagine that he would, since he runs so many little creatures. But
who knows? Yeah, I don't.
But who knows? I'm not sure.
I'm pulling it up now though because I do want to find
Yeah,
out.
because Gator has been really focused on the problem of consistently getting through tokens recently. So
yeah, no wraths in
sweepers?
here.
Okay.
So, except that I guess I forgot about that.
Oh,
but
okay. Yeah.
I lied. That's on me. I wasn't looking in the creature section.
Yeah.
you fool.
Well, that will do some work. I mean, that could kill
Yeah, and he has
everyone who
3
isn't a
artifacts.
sandwich. But
Right? Yeah. This was. Yeah. I said breath weapon, but what I meant was any sweeper at all that can take out
yeah,
Hive's, anything that'll take out Hive's blockers will
Well, I
also
mean,
Yeah.
kill Liam.
even if it were a 1 damage sweeper, like that would have made it to where Dargo would only have to mark 1 damage on each of the blockers. Still would have done it.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The issue, well, so like Hive could blow up the shiny impetus. I don't know if Hive would do that. It doesn't really behoove Hive, right? Like Hive's dead, but it could
Right.
keep Liam alive, which is a unique
Yeah.
like
King making thing. So if
Yeah.
you go by Clay's, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Like me and Clay have those different perceptions of what the goal is if
Yeah.
you're stuck in a place where you can't win. Like Clay kind of just says, okay, I shall not interfere with anything. Whereas to me, it's like a survival thing. I want to survive even a moment longer. So if there's 2 things on the stack and I can only stop one of them, I'll stop the one that's on top. That way I survive a few state-based action checks later into the game.
Yeah. I just don't know if there's enough that you could do. I don't know if there's anything else happening across the table that Hive has any reason to do it. Like I don't see anything happening that would keep Hive alive. Is kind of where I stand on it.
Yeah.
So Hive probably doesn't do it.
I should note the Kedis is not going to be able to get in because it taps from being regenerated. So
Oh yeah, because it dies. Yeah. Okay.
because
So
it dies. So
oh, bloody betrayal.
however, we are
something.
going to get to steal something big.
Ooh. Just steal the other Dargo. Which isn't
That-
goated.
Yeah. Yeah. And stealing that
Yeah, 7.
will legend rule it.
7 plus 9. Oh, yeah.
It'll legend rule it, but it will get it off the table.
Yeah. I mean, I would have just taken the Sphinx and tried to win the game, but or the Serpent.
I mean, a sandwich doesn't have that much fodder, so recasting Dargo is going to be more of an issue.
He's going to get a treasure from this Dargo attack, and he has a great furnace. It's not the
Serpent
worst, but it's not the best.
Yeah, Serpent would have been unblockable, right? It's a non-creature spell you have to cast.
I don't know how that would work.
He would have to have control of Serpent before
You'd have to
and
control
then
it
cast
first.
another spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it just check if you have cast a non-creature spell at any point during the turn?
Checking.
Not that
Oh,
it
yeah, it
matters,
is.
because that is not the line that was taken. But
Yeah.
Can't be
Out of
blocked as
curiosity.
long as you've cast a non-creature spell this turn. You are correct.
Yeah, so it should be good to be unblockable.
It's a static ability, not a trigger.
Yeah, which would have been lethal. Right? 6 plus 15 plus the 1 from Kedis. Yeah, that would have been lethal. I mean, he's still in pretty good shape, I think. So,
yeah, we're gonna do.
Yeah, if it weren't for Kedis, impetusing a Dargo would be a much better idea. If Sandwich is holding, the removal spell where you sack a mountain instead of paying the mana cost.
Thunderclap. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Flicker of
Yeah.
Fate on the Dargo.
Nice.
Okay, so Impetus is
solves
gonna
that
fall
problem.
off, and Dargo's gonna be taken out of combat.
Yeah.
I was just imagining like a thunderclap on Kedis.
Yeah. That is
That's a
that
sweet
is a
one.
reprieve.
Well, now I'm just wondering if Hive should have blown something up of like Liam's, maybe.
How does Liam still have tokens?
Those fly.
Yeah,
Oh,
Parkland Shaman. Yeah,
I
those are
always
not
forget it
actual
doesn't get
goblins. Those are the
flyers.
Thopters from the
Yeah,
skull.
yeah, those. Yeah, they're Thopters. Liam's just being the best and promoting those sweet tokens.
I just always forget it can't hit flyers because I have it in Mahadi and I just never draw it
Yeah.
ever.
Well, this is interesting. I feel like this is where you have to take the chance to try to do something about Gator if you're Liam. Like we talked about, the sandwich is low on fodder. Hive is on the brink of death. Your sword coast is unblockable if you cast anything, which maybe he doesn't have anything.
I mean, just getting rid of Kedis would do a lot right now. Getting rid of Gator's Kedis. Because
You
a
have to make
sandwich
sure
is.
it's gone next turn too, though.
Well, but Gator only has 3 lands, so he would have to hit a land drop to replay Kedis, and then a sandwich, his Kedis has already gone away once too. We might end up in a place where the Kedis is the limiting factor more than the Dargo.
Yeah. I mean, he does have. Ethereum is, or Aethersworn is 4, so he has 6 in the air. I mean, the 6/6 Serpent, even if it's not unblockable, like.
It's a chonky boy.
Yeah, the issue is it's also really good on defense. So
if he plays a Vigilance equipment, I will lose my mind. I will be so happy.
Liam has Fall from Favor in hand.
That is a sweet one.
I think I would throw that on a certain lobster carrying pirate.
Yep.
And I think I would throw that over on the Dargo, and split some damage. I'd maybe just kill Hive while you can, then knowing that, and chuck some, like, leave some stuff to block Gator stuff so you don't lose the Monarch.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe deal some damage to Gator too. So like maybe throw like the Serpent at Hive and the Sphinx at Gator.
Yeah, because then he doesn't have to worry about clapback.
Yeah. Although the Serpent is unblockable if you cast the Fall from Favor.
So maybe just get the damage in on Gator.
Yeah, like throw the. Okay, he's attacking with the Thopters and the Sphinx at someone.
6 in the air.
At Gator, it looks like.
Look at Gator. Yep.
And just pass. Okay. So he must have a bounce spell also or something.
That would make sense.
Maybe he's also just expecting Sandwich to do something about the Dargo.
Okay.
Which is a tall order with red removal.
Yeah, I don't know. A Sandwich doesn't have a lot of things in the deck that can do anything about Dargo, though. Other than play another Dargo. I mean, Liam can also like hope Hive does something too. Hive is down to 3 cards though, but gets to draw off this clear then a turn. So,
all right. So we do have enough.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we can get Dargo here.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean we'd have to.
Oh, we cast that. We plinked that just to hit Gator for 1. Okay.
Yeah, we have to sacrifice the Great Furnace if we want to cast the Dargo now, I believe.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Because the treasure is a mana. The treasure is 3. You have 2 from the implement. You have 2 from Impulsive Pilferer. I'm mathing hard. I don't know.
So 3 from treasure, 2 from implement is 5.
Pilfer
6 is the mountain, and then 8 is
Yeah, okay.
Go for
This is why I don't Dargo.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm not here to math.
Looks like he's having to count it all out for everyone else too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Lane has to go.
Yeah, we've got to sacrifice that. Okay.
It's okay, Sandwich.
We
I
have-
was in the same spot you were. I can't math either.
we figured it out. Yeah.
Does he remember to make the treasure? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
He's gonna make the treasure. He should also draw a card off the implement.
He
If
did that
didn't
earlier in the
already.
turn.
He did that already? Okay.
Yeah, he just sacked. He like paid the red to.
He paid the
ping
red
Gator.
to sack it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The interesting thing is if Gator like a Sandwich probably just eats a Gator hit this time, which makes things like it kills Hive and
Yep.
does a number on Liam.
Yeah, but if he declares no blocks, then he's dead to some of the double strike spells.
You're dead to those anyway. I mean, depending on who you attack, I guess, but maybe not. I just still think. I don't think either player is in the spot where they can afford to trade their Dargo if they want to have a chance at winning against the other one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be.
Well, yeah. If you have the double strike, you're good. Yeah.
Well, no, because Goblin Trudgeon.
Oh yeah, that's true.
How do you pronounce that? I've never bothered to find out.
I also don't know. I've heard it just pronounced as surgeon. I've always called it chirurgeon, but I do not know.
I believe I've always just called it surgeon
Yeah,
because I believe it's a weird, like, archaic word for surgeon.
that makes sense to
But-
me. I do like that art.
Well, I have a how you pronounce it thing pulled up. Let's see if this comes through the mic. Nope.
Chirurgeon, says dictionary.com.
I've always been bad at reading the dictionary pronunciation guides.
You said chirurgeon?
Chirurgeon.
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's what Wales
Emphasis on
says
the middle
too.
syllable.
Yeah.
Chirurgeon.
Yeah, Wales says call it surgeon, but it is pronounced with a hard K. So yeah, hard K sound.
Chirurgeon.
All right, we got a Wilson, and now
Got a
there's
Wilson. Got
a Gator, untap.
Yeah.
If Liam has a bounce spell and that fall from favor, I think he is
He
in
might
a
be able to do it.
very, 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 very good spot.
Yeah, he just has to be really careful not to use too much mana on his turn.
wonder where this Kedis is going, because it does not have a good attack anywhere.
That is true.
Maybe at a sandwich, because he only has one blocker. So if
Yeah, I guess
he
if both are
with
going
Darkos-
at him, yeah. But I would block the heck out of.
I mean, if he blocks Kedis, Kedis just gets regenerated, and then Dargo connects.
Which then clears up things for like that. Chirurgeon no longer matters, and isn't threatening anymore. It's gone. Oh, here we go. So we have Peel from Reality from Liam. So he's gonna bounce something and Aethersworn Sphinx.
Yep.
Yep.
Love to see it.
I wonder if he's targeting. Oh, it was the Dargo. Okay, beat me to the question.
Would have been pretty cool to bounce the Kedis.
Yeah, depending on how attacks went down,
Yep.
because we still don't know for sure. But
Ooh. Did Liam just take damage?
yeah, everyone just took the one from the Kedis. It looks like.
Oh, it connected. Okay.
I think. Yeah. Who took that Kedis damage? It was a sandwich. So yeah, maybe all of it was going at sandwich, and sandwich was just not gonna. So like, yep, bring it on. So. The tricky part about that, though, about what he just did, is you no longer have enough damage to outright kill someone, like Gator. Like,
Right. Losing the 4.
yeah,
He's just banking on cascading into another big beater that can defend him against Dargos. Because if he gets
Or a
another
removal
beater,
piece or something, yeah.
if he gets another piece of removal or another beater, then he's in a fantastic position also.
Yeah. Gator isn't going to be able to cast his Dargo very easily, though. So you do have the fall from favor on a sandwich's Dargo. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I mean, if he sacks Kedis, Gator can recast Dargo immediately.
Yeah. Which he might do, but that also helps. But Dargo's not coming down this turn anymore. So
Yep.
without a land, at least. But
That's a lot of Chirurgan fodder also.
yeah. Yeah. I think I'm pretty excited if I'm Liam, though, with how this is all unfolding. Although he doesn't have the... Aethersworn isn't cheap anymore, though, so that's a bummer. You have three mana towards it, so you're kind of priced into having to fall from favor this other Dargo. And then you can't do a whole lot after that. You probably attack a Gator for 6. Because what? Sphinx costs 9 minus 4, so it costs 6 right now.
Wait a second. Is Ethereum Sculptor a 1/2 or a 1/1?
Oh, 1/2.
And there were
So
two triggers on the thing, though.
In that case, it would have killed Kedis because they're separate.
So
triggers
he regenerated them. He did a double regenerate thing.
I thought there was only one token in play at that
So,
time.
well, he used the Krark Clan Shaman the second time around. So the first one, he used Goblins to regen Krark Clan and to regen Kedis. And then the second time around, he sacked to Krark Clan, holding priority, sacked Krark Clan to charge.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It was a whole thing.
All right. Golem Foundry.
Interesting.
The card that
So Liam is in full value mode. He thinks he has another turn.
I mean, you got another
But
bounce spell, so
Yeah.
very true.
I mean, we don't have. I mean, a sandwich could cast Kedis. Maybe does, maybe doesn't. I don't know. Hmm. Yeah, I really just want to know what else Liam has in his hand. Aside from Sphinx, and I'm fairly certain it's Fall from Favor. I don't know, like, 100%, I guess, but I guess if you're holding off the Fall from Favor, I guess you're just like hoping it does enough to like kill Gator, like put Gator in a spot where you can win and not die. But I mean, he's not in the predicament of like maybe just dead to like enough Goblin token damage, depending on. Yeah, because if Dargo goes uninterrupted at Gator, it kills Hive, puts Liam down to 2. Kedis goes at a sandwich unblockable, which is 1. I guess, yeah, he's still alive then that way if he doesn't attack with anything. But that does not solve the dealing with a sandwich's board at all. So I think he's also just like, man, what do I do? Based on him sitting there thinking.
I'm just trying to figure out what is in Liam's hand that makes the Golem Foundry worth playing out. Like, is it just that he's banking? He needs more artifacts to cast Sphinx.
Yeah.
And that's just the one he has.
I mean, it doesn't look like he has many cards. He did lose a lot to that board wipe. I mean, I guess it was only like, what, 2 cards?
Yeah.
But
like, in my Sphinx build, I heavily favor the just do nothing cantrip artifacts just because they never go away and always keep Sphinx cheap. But that's why mine takes so much longer to come online than what we saw from Liam.
yeah. And he was in a good, like, if it weren't for that Wrath, he'd be golden. Like, that would have been 2 mana Sphinx. You can call it a day, move on. But I guess it maybe wouldn't have been 2 mana, but it would have been a lot cheaper. So
All right, 1 Thopter getting in.
Maybe he is scared of some Goblin token damage coming his way. Keep him back at Thopter.
Gonna plink Gator with a Thopter.
I think you have, I don't know. I would have kept them all back, but
maybe he's just banking on Gator and Sandwich continuing to go after each other.
oh, we got
a spell. It's
is that curfew?
Curfew? Alright.
That's
Alright.
That's different.
I think that puts
Well, Hive is
That is
in
very
danger.
bad for a sandwich.
super bad. The issue is it puts like it really puts Gator kind of like that much further ahead, I think.
It does, yeah.
I mean,
Well, but maybe Liam still has 1 bounce spell and he just
Well,
is banking on being able to use it on Gator.
yeah,
Or
I mean, if the
maybe
fall from favor is still there, he's good. But
actually maybe fall from favor is the only thing. So he's gambling that Gator can't kill him this turn. And then
Which
if
is
he
a-
falls,
safe bet, yeah.
yeah. Like, so if fall from favor is his last removal spell and he's just banking on using it on Gator's Dargo and riding that to victory with his Serpent.
Yeah. I don't hate it. It's just interesting.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Because you're still
If he
like
can-
at a spooky, like, you're still in a pretty spooky spot no matter what. So,
I mean, that would leave him with 2 mana up, so he could be hoping then to Monarch draw into more removal.
yeah. I mean, a sandwich isn't going to get to Dargo. I think that much is pretty clear. Although it's just bounced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, he could spend his turn casting Dargo here, I suppose. Oh, just gonna run out Kevis maybe. That is interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea how that helps.
Yeah. Because like the Kyurgen over by Gator, like you're not like if you want to like try like get rid of a Caddis, you're not getting rid of a Caddis probably. Like
Part of the reason I was asking about Fling earlier is I thought I remembered Gator saying that either his daughter does use his build, right? I
Yeah.
think he said Goblin Grenades in there.
it is not in the list I am looking at least. No flings or goblin grenades or anything like that. So there's Flame Rift.
I actually, I think it was November, I saw Flame Rift kill a whole table.
Yeah.
It was glorious.
Flame Rift is a disgusting card. All right, so Gator trying to maybe suggest, hey, don't worry about me. I don't know what they're talking about, but Wilson.
Unfortunately, I have a league match to play, so I am going to have to bounce. But
Good luck.
Good luck in your league
Thank
match. I don't have to ask tell you to let me know how it goes because someone has to. So, but excited to hear about it. So.
Somebody will report one way or another.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll be me.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right.
Thanks. For
and, thanks for having me on. Great to talk to both you and Paul. And yeah, I will catch you guys later.
See you around.
See you, David. All right, so Hive recasting Wilson for what seems like the billionth time in this game, although it's only turn 6, so that's not true.
Yeah, and since it was just curfewed, super cheap right now.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's kind of keeping the other like the Dargos like still castable is that there's just been some bounce that's happened, not full on removal, or like Flicker of Fate didn't even really get rid of it. It was just there. What is that? Flywheel Racer?
Oh, interesting.
All right. That's a disposable blocker. which is nice. You don't have to get rid of the Wilson this way.
And he still has enough mana. So he still has 3 mana available.
Yeah, so we can do.
Oh, wait,
Access
no.
to like Crib Swap, Genish Gift. Oh no, because
No,
it has Summoning
2.
Sickness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Lulu action because North Dakota is really high on it, and
I love
Flywheel
Lulu.
Racer is an absolute all-star in that deck for tapping down Lulu the turn it comes into play.
Yeah, I had Flywheel Racer the other day, and I had Shrieking Drake to make sure I got the trigger every turn.
Yep.
It was gross.
Shrieking Drake is an amazing card.
Yeah. It's very rarely doing fair things, but it is a sweet card.
Yeah, the main place I use it is bouncing Maverick Thopters and Aethersworn Sphinx.
Yeah, those are good things to do. So we have Infernal Plunge, Impulsive Pilferer. So this is just to try to keep enough goblins around to make the Kyversion still very relevant.
And now there's 2 Impulsive Pilfers in graveyards, so... But that still takes a whole turn because you have to wait for them to die in order to get the treasure.
But it could just be enough damage. Like, there's a potential, like, in the next couple turns, that could just be enough damage. So 3 red and a sack so far. I assume he's just going to try to play both Convergent, Dargo, maybe something else. He has 2 other cards, I believe. Going down to 1 red. Playing. Bitter Reunion. So there'll be a hasty Dargo.
Interesting.
This could change a lot of math.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrifying.
Discarding Krankos. Then now we know the other 2 cards. He's gonna draw some.
It's interesting to me that he played out Pilfer in order to sack to plunge instead of just sacking a goblin and discarding Pilfer to Bitter Reunion.
Yeah, I mean, this maybe there's I don't know if it makes too big of a difference in like the overall mana for everything, because like you're gonna try to attack someone with a hasty Dargo this turn. I assume it's not Liam, but maybe. It's probably
I guess
sandwich.
stacking it instead of discarding it gives them the additional treasure. So it's just banking
More
up.
Dargo fodder, yeah. Well, more, quote unquote. So he has 3. He's gonna have to sack a goblin here if he wants to still be able to activate Bitter Reunion.
Right. How many cards are in Hive's hand? I can't really read the fuzzy
It
numbers.
looks like 3.
Okay. So there's some gas there yet.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay. So that's enough. Sacking the goblin. And then there's a Dargo. There's a mystery card, which I think he revealed was a mountain already. So,
So Dargo just goes as sandwich, right? The
think it
least
has to.
threatening blockers.
Sandwich doesn't care. Sandwich is just gonna take it, which is good for everyone else. See, this is
And there's no
where
threat of a double strike spell now.
yeah. Well, this is where Liam. I mean, the curfew did a thing, but like, Liam could just be dead. Because if a sandwich just takes the Kedis and the Dargo. The thing is, I don't know. If you're a sandwich, do you like trade Kedises? Because you kind of want to try to keep Liam alive to like have a shot.
Well, it's not trading because Kedis regenerates.
Yeah, but I guess do you just do it to like keep Liam alive? I guess is the question. So, but it looks like Gator's only attacking with those two. Maybe not final yet, but I guess he's not. Yeah, he wouldn't be dead because of the converging can't attack for anything, or because it's an O2, right? I believe. Double click this. It is not a Zodiac Rabbit, that's for sure. Yeah, it's an O2. So yeah, he's actually not dead. It would just he's probably going to one. And it looks like yeah, a sandwich is taking it. At least the attack. Just deciding if Kedises are gonna go in front of each other. It'll be interesting if Hive has anything to do here to like influence us to stay alive, or if Hive's just dead.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we've seen only one
Flicker.
piece of right.
I don't
That's
know.
what I was going to say. Only one piece of interaction so far from Hive.
Yeah, I just don't know what else. I mean, like a fog, right, could get it.
Yeah.
But let me go see if I can find Hive's list. Here we go. Okay, so things I could keep Hive alive. A bite down on the Kedis would not do the trick. Although, would it do the trick? Because then, no,
yeah,
you
if
could
Dargo's
regen.
aimed at. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that doesn't work.
But that does remove Kedis from combat at least.
Yeah, but you're still dying to the Dargo damage that gets through.
If you just bite, well, no, biting down the surgeon wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't see anything. There's not even fogs. Like, there's prismatic strands, but that can't be cast.
Yeah, that's 3 mana.
I don't think Hive has anything that keeps them alive. Yep. Kedis is blocked to Kedis. I don't know. Did Kedis not block a Ket? What happened there?
Yeah, I'm not
Just
sure why
took
it's
it. It
tapped.
looks like.
He already had 1 damage from Kedis previously.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what happened there. Well, the issue now is that the Kedises are just as scary for Liam as the Dargos are. So
Yeah.
you play a fall from favor.
Like at this point, even if he had something like Fade Away, the Dargos and Kedises would be the only things left.
Yeah, so here's a Sphinx.
I just realized that's one of Brad's altars, isn't it? Cool.
I believe it is, yeah. Scour from Existence. Wow. That is a hit.
Can't regenerate that.
Yeah. Wowza.
which that I think forces Gator to take a turn off to Encore Pilfer.
Liam cannot attack here, I don't think.
Yeah, or he's just dead.
I don't
to
know.
tokens.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Well, Gator needs a land to be. Well, I think he has a mountain to Encore, or is it only 4 to Encore and Pilferer?
It's 4.
Okay. So like, yeah. Oh, and he did attack. Oh man.
One of the other decks I just rebuilt is Fathom Fleet Swordjack. I think I've given it away twice now, and just keep rebuilding it.
That one's on my. That one looks sweet. What's the other one I'm thinking of that is?
But Pilfer is definitely in that deck.
Yeah. Fathom Fleet.
So there's Warmonger is the Rakdos Sacrifice Voltron option, and then Swordjack is the mono red artifact burn Encore one.
Yeah. That one is sweet. All the Commander Legends stuff was just awesome. I just feel like now that I'm like playing more with like casual and building more casual decks, there's just so many ideas that I want to explore, and I only have so much time in a day to think about it, let alone time to actually play the ideas once they're.
Yep. I have like 30 lists in Cockatrice that I haven't played more than once.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's probably more than that, because I have another 10 on my phone that I've come up with since Christmas.
Flame Rift is going
nice
to seal it for Sam. Wow. Liam just did enough damage to let a Sanger to run away with a Flame Rift. That's gross.
Beautiful.
Oh, what? Oh. What an end to that.
So we ended up seeing 0 combo, and the game ended with a Flame Rift. Are we sure this isn't Pal's meta?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Pal's meta is competitive meta, despite what they would have you think.
Oh, yeah. I was hardly abused by several of their decks at both RIW and Vegas. Yeah. I forget. I think it's Noggle Ransacker is it deck that they have a ton of the like spell slinging pingers in. Yeah. And I was stuck between like that and a Dina deck, and it just burned me and Brad to the ground, and we just didn't have enough removal for all the symmetrical burn engines.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very excited to play against all their stuff coming up here in Chicago. So very, very excited.
I'm curious to hear how many decks they give away. Like, I want to say they gave away 7 or 8 at Vegas. It was a large number.
I mean, they have plenty to dole out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So,
they definitely have a lead on me. I've managed to give away in the last 3 years somewhere between 15 and 18 decks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all. I mean, that's like the cool part about PDH, right? Like the fact that you can give away decks, they're not that expensive. They're, and it's worth it just to get more people playing. Like,
yeah. I'm like, someone was trying to like, oh, maybe I have something in my trade binder that I can give you. Like, no, it's fine. Just if you really get into the format, just pay it forward eventually.
Yeah. Just get people to play. That's all we could ask. So
like back before I moved, right after COVID, when I started seeing FNMs again, when I first started giving decks away, it was like the high schoolers that don't have a lot of money. Like they were the ones that were really interested, and like the ones that couldn't drive, whose parents were dropping them off for the FNM. Like I would just be standing on the side telling the parents about it, and the parents were super interested because like, wait, it's not expensive.
Yeah,
super interesting to them.
Deal.
Yep.
We don't mind spending $20-$30 on a deck that they can play for who knows how long, forever. So
who plays only one deck?
Right. You leave that part out when you're trying to sell money. So, But yeah, no, that was. I mean, I'm very excited. That's how that game ended. So that was
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
a
beautiful.
cool. I mean, it got out of hand quick. I mean, the game ended on what, like turn 7, I think there. So it was not a long game turn wise, but there's a lot that went into that one. So
Yeah,
um,
like we saw what 5 pieces of interaction.
yeah,
Um, Flicker of Fate, Kasali Pride Mage, Curfew, Peel from Reality, and
Scour,
oh yeah,
F-
yep,
Flame Rift. Yeah, I don't know. Goblin Shuriken is some number of those two.
right, right. I was thinking removal. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said interaction. That was
No, you're
not
good.
what I meant to refer
Yeah.
to.
But yeah, no, that was an interesting game. Double Dargo Kedis is never a pod I'm excited to sit down across from.
Yeah, like if there had been a single black player with a flashback, it would have changed the way that game looked so much.
Yeah. But
Especially with how early those Dargos came down.
yeah. So, but I think I don't know about you. I'm good to call on that. That was a good game.
Yeah,
It's getting kind of
wonderful,
later. I need to figure out
wonderful
dinner.
note to end the night on.
Yeah, and we
Yeah,
we spent a little longer talking about Markov and or Karlov. Wow, I always mess
yeah.
it up.
Sorry.
Karlov Manor and no, I liked it. And talking about our decks, it's always fun. This is like I love just talking to people about PDH, and like I feel
Yep.
like I don't get to talk to everyone enough, so this is like a cool way to just force people to talk. And it's cool, like I don't know, it's been cool just getting people who like aren't normally like talking together, all talking together in one place. So I'm a big fan of that. So
Oh, you said you had played against Kutzel a good bit
yeah.
recently. So what kind of builds are you seeing? Like I outlined my high interaction mid range version, and then I just recently played against a mid power just all the creatures version that was very consistent and pretty good. So what have you been seeing?
So I played against one that Dax was playing, so it's more like, casual mid to high power. Lots of tokeny stuff. Lots of like the random things, just like put counters on things. I'm thinking like Wily Bandar and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then Ravamati has a list that's built for CPDH, and it's more focused on just like efficient mid range threats and like the good green white interaction like Benevolent Blessing and stuff. It plays great Sword of Tier. That card impresses me every single time I see it get played.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's just like perfect in that deck. My one critique of the deck is that it does really good at protecting the person after them in turn order, which is really awkward depending on pod composition. So you have to like, if you're the person like who's trying to stop the person after them, you have to like try to politic your way a little more than normal with the Kutzel player.
Because the beatdown's coming.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, like I can't do this on your turn because of you. So if you want me to deal with this, I can, but it's gonna cost you. If not, I'm just gonna assume you have it, and if you don't, well then we're in trouble. So
one of the things I've been playing with like Akiri and Phyrexian Censor, because my censor is not Rebels, is like the life linking flyers like Healer's Hawk, and then just strapping equipment to them. Like if you're gaining 3 life a turn from a Healer's Hawk, that adds up super fast.
Yeah, and then if you're also just getting a treasure every time, like flyers are mostly unblockable. And
yeah, like as long as you don't care about who you're attacking, they're unblockable.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm excited to see how your Akira list goes. I have like a list of all the commanders I like one day want to get to. Blood Boil Sorcerer's on that list. Akiri's on that list. Mahadi's on the list. I mean, the list is like a mile long, but excited to see. And I mean, it's just going to keep getting better the more they print like cheap, efficient equipment, which seems to be what they're keen to do at the moment. So
yeah.
But yeah, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it all up here? Anything you want to plug?
No, I'm really looking forward to the cons.
Yeah,
I wish I could go to Chicago, but I just don't have the leave time right now. if I could go to RIW and PalsCon and Chicago and Vegas every year, that would just be
It'd be
living
awesome.
the dream.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
going to try to do that this year. We'll see how my wallet and boss feel about that. But
Yeah, for me, the second one's the bigger issue.
yeah, I can work I work remote, so I can maybe make it work for like the travel parts.
Oh yeah,
but
one of my both of my sister-in-laws work remote, and they just went up to Montana and were both working remote while going on a vacation together.
yeah,
That just sounds so surreal to me. It's amazing.
it sounds awful and awesome at the same time, depending on what you're trying to do for the vacation. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to Riches to Rags. I'm hopefully Sniff and I are hopefully going to get the pals in to make PalsCon a reality. TBD.
If they can hurry up and get a date picked out, then I might be able to go too.
Yeah. So I'm going to push for that in Chicago, and then I'm going to try to make a trip to see them and get it on paper.
Yeah.
So,
I was trying to visit the pals over Christmas too, but the timing just didn't work out.
yeah. So I mean, I think a PalsCon would be awesome and much needed. So and then I'm gonna also try to go to Vegas. I'm RIW.
Yeah, Vegas is the one I can always go to just because it's driving distance.
Yeah, that's the exact opposite for me. Vegas is like the one that's an actual trip for me. I mean, Philly's a big trip too. It's not exactly close, but Chicago's like a 3.5 hour hike. RIW is like 4 to 5 hours. So Philly is a drive.
Very, very reasonable.
Yeah, Philly's a drive, but it's worth it. I've had a great time at both of those events. So
yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in Philly because my guess is that they will surpass RIW and beat the 44 participants number.
Unfortunately, that will not be happening this time. So they are capped because of the
that's
event.
right. I remember hearing about that because it's to do with imminence, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just because there's they're having their big CEDH event, so space is an actual thing they have to consider. But this could depending on assuming it sells out. I think it's already at like 10 or fewer spots left, and we're 3 months away.
That's right. I remember when it first got announced, PDH Pod, them talking about it and how they already had like 16 the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about the cap.
Yeah. But it could lead to. I mean, I think just the fact that it'll be happening at Punt City. If it sells out, there'll be enough of a crowd there seeing it, and
good exposure.
I'm gonna have a bunch of decks with me and trying to convince the CEDH folks on day one, just like play games after
Yeah,
after
like my whole grift with trying to get more people here. Like my end game is okay. We had 16 people interested in showing up today for this meetup at a store. Use that as evidence. Hey, store, you should do a tournament.
Yeah,
that's my long con. Because then the tournament acts as good exposure, and the tournament also gives people a reason to travel from farther away, which spreads it.
Yeah, I mean, I want more PDH everywhere. So I mean, if that means I have to take more, I'll go West Coast trips. I don't care. I'll go wherever. So, yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to hear that you're making efforts on the paper front, and other people.
I mean, it's a grind, but just seeing any payoff is super gratifying.
Yeah, and I think this year's gonna be. I mean, last year was a huge year for the format, and this year's just gonna be that much more. It sounds like. I mean, just the amount. Like, I'm gonna have at least 4 tournaments. It sounds like OMG Chris is gonna have at least 4 tournaments. Dallas is probably gonna have at least 2 tournaments in Philly. There's
also at least 2 other organizers that are looking at online tournaments as well.
Yeah.
So I'm to the point where I'm starting to think that the online tournament space is going to be saturated fairly soon.
Yeah.
And that those are going to stay at the moderate numbers as people find the organizers they are more familiar with.
Yeah.
And just kind of become kind of localized community wise.
Yeah, I'm hoping it turns into a thing where we have some big ones and if we get to the point, yeah, I would love to have a 1K, right? I'd love to be able to say that.
An online 1K, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I cannot at the moment if I want to, not go broke. But once we get numbers like that, that's a very real possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't take as many numbers. Like we're like maybe like 2/3 the way that, like, I think 32, it involves, a certain entry level, like entry fee, like higher than what I've been doing so far for the Sanctuary Opens. But I mean, that's very doable.
I was trying to remember what RIW charged last year. I wanted to say it was 15.
I thought it was 20 or 30. I don't remember. Because I think they were like pretty close to break even, if I recall.
Because they were also like renting a separate space. They had real world overhead.
Yeah, so I think they're pretty close to break even, all things considered, with their numbers and their payouts. But yeah, I think a $20 to $25 entry 1K is very in the near future something that is a reality, and I would love to be able to do that. So, yeah, I'm just hopefully more people play. I know I'm excited to see how just numbers continue to improve. Like Chris's tournament, the Common Cause, had 16 people, and I didn't know most of them. Like that was awesome. So
it was a lot more of the Twitter crowd, which was pretty cool to see.
So if we just get like all the communities kind of, and I know, like the last few times, like the tournaments have been so close that it creates like an awkward, like people like, oh, I can't dedicate 2 back-to-back weekends. So as long as there's some more coordination amongst everyone and like spreading it out.
That's what I've been pleasantly surprised by seeing people like talk about shifting dates to accommodate.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and
feels it's good for everyone.
Yeah, Chris
do it.
Chris and I talked about it. I didn't want to step on Dallas's toes when it came to planning tournaments either, because I want to make it out to those. Like I didn't want to compete with MagicCon, which is why I just didn't even want to bother with doing anything in February, because February filled up real quick. I think there's 2 online tournaments in MagicCon, so like plenty of stuff happening. Or maybe 3 online tournaments. I think. But yeah, so tons of stuff coming up, tons more hopefully on the horizon. Hopefully numbers, hopefully the community just like I want everyone to like merge and like all the communities to grow and just like have it be this massive thing. It'll be awesome. So home base numbers up, Sanctuary numbers up, Common Cause servers numbers up, all the PDH servers up.
I mean, if Reddit community size is any indicator, the community has done nothing but go up for years.
Yeah.
And it looks awful exponential.
Yeah. Which is awesome. So, but yeah, so I think we'll call it there. Super exciting stuff on the future. Quick little plug to get tokens, playing games. I'm going to do a giveaway every FNM. I do a giveaway to give out some token sets. Sometimes I give away multiple sets. Depends on, how crazy things are going. But, yeah, so it should be a good, fun time playing all these tournaments, play more PDH, have fun, let all your friends know, read everything Scarecrow posts on Reddit and reposts of other people's on Reddit. And
the spoiler post that just came out, I wrote like 1,400 words for my reviewing comments.
Yeah. So, and they're always, I love reading you're always like, one, I'm going to repost, and then I'm going to also share all my thoughts, to make sure, I'm chiming in and also spreading the love. So I appreciate, I'm super appreciative of you doing that you're posting stuff every day. So.
Yeah, I think tomorrow morning, my post that I had my eye on today is OMG Chris. He has a recent live stream of PDH that I need to post to Reddit.
Yeah, that's awesome. So. Well, perfect. Well, we'll call it a wrap here. Thanks to everyone who came out and watched. Thanks to everyone who's playing. Thanks to everyone who's helped out on Patreon so we can make all the tokens and prizes that we're giving out. And I think we have Brad. I think it's Brad and Derek next week. So, and maybe me. We'll see. So, should be a good, fun time. So, thanks everyone, and have a good weekend.
See y'all around.